Hello everyone and welcome back to the Wolfpack. It is so good to see all of you and I am so excited and grateful for all the feedback that you all have commented and left on the new #1 game of all time. It's just been an absolute whirlwind and I'm very, very excited to finally have shared all that. I feel like it has been so long in the works and now that it's finally out in the open, it's the absolute most amazing thing ever. But today I wanted to talk about initially it was going to be a top 5. Initially, it was going to be a top 5 most anticipated games for Essen, but then there are just so many good games. I'm like, I cannot shrink this list anymore, and it has to be 10. So normally I do 5, but here I'm going to do 10 because I just can't. I can't. Okay, there are too many good games out this year in general, and now at Essen, I just can't deal with how many good games that are going to be there. And on top of that, I will be there at Essen, which is the most exciting thing ever. I cannot wait to see. Hopefully many of you over there at Essen, feel free to say hi anytime. I'll hopefully be walking the floors a ton and trying my most absolute best to not buy too many games. That's a failed promise already as it is. As I've stated it, I can already feel myself lying to myself. So let's get started. A quick note, this is not a sponsored video. I am ranking the system very lightly, so go ahead and take this list with a grain of salt because I only have like the box art and the description to go off of because some of these titles are very, very new. So this is just a light ranking system. I absolutely know what my #1 is here, so stay tuned for that. But with the other ones, these are ones that I've just ranked as I see them. I went off like the Board Game Geek list, chose a bunch, and I'm like, I think this is where I would put it if I were to know what I know about it now. Ooh, also, I'm not going to be working necessarily over there at Essen, and it's going to be a lot of my own time, and I will definitely be doing some daily vlogs. So look forward to that. Make sure you are subscribed down below and don't miss it because we'll be doing some really fun daily vlogs over there at Essen. All right, beginning with number 10. This is Battalion War of the Ancients by Osprey Games. I absolutely love the cover art and the theme behind this one. This is a 2 to 4 player game where you are commanding a wide range of units from 4 playable historical factions. See, that right there is what already sold me because I'm like, oh, I love anything Greek, Roman, anytime you're playing with like ancient factions. I love that. So that's what immediately sold me about this game. Plus the cover art too. I really like that style of artwork. And then here it says they all have their own strengths and weaknesses, of course, them being asymmetric. So asymmetric, of course, add me in as a +1. And then here you're going to employ faction-specific tactics to outmaneuver your opponents. Compose your unique forces with rigor and judge the tempo of battle with precision. Seize victory for your people. And what really got me interested into this one was I love the different individual player boards. I love that not only is it an asymmetric game, but I really like how there are these, I think they feel like slots. I feel like these are individual slots that you're slotting into your player board. And I would love to know more about this whole battle system, but the fact that it is 2 to 4 players and it's maybe in between a card game and a board game in this sense, because you don't really have any kind of miniature pieces and you also don't have like a deck of cards. So it's a little bit in between that and I'm very interested to know more. Ultimately, I feel like Battalion is a potential niche filler because I haven't seen a game necessarily like this where you have these individual tactics, like tokens, slots, whatever you want to call them, that you can put into your player board. So I'm not sure if it's like a head-to-head card battle system, but maybe it's something where you're upgrading different faction abilities as you go. So I would love to know more about the combat, and it's definitely a game that I want to check out and find more about over there at Essen. Okay, now number 9 is Kyoto no Neko. This is a game that takes place in modern Japan. And I saw the artwork, like the cover art, and it instantly sold me. Like just the whole sunset, maybe sunrise in Kyoto just brings me back. And I wanna go back to Japan just seeing the artwork like that. And I also love the board too. It's a really nice, huge city board. And here it says that you are exploring modern day Kyoto, Japan, through a series of independent replayable scenarios. And in each scenario, you have to fulfill a variety of missions that represent typical cat activities. Now, I know Neko means cat. I'm more of a dog person, not a cat person. I want to put that out there. I don't hate cats. I'm just a dog person. That's all, okay? But in game, this looks super fun because you're trying to befriend some different stray cats. You're stealing food from other players' dinner bowls. So I love the kind of play interaction there. And then it says during each game, each player is going to evolve depending on their skills and gaining the ability to explore new parts of the map by climbing on bushes and rooftop. So you are literally playing as a cat, exploring Kyoto. I'm sold from that alone. I think, however, like the one thing that really made me more interested is the fact that you are interacting with other players by taking things from them. I'm a really big take that. I love take that mechanics in board games in general. So the fact that we're playing as cats here, I know my gaming group is going to absolutely love that. And then to add on a little more to the game description, it says that using a system of skills, Kyoto no Neko will see each player interact with some of Kyoto's inhabitants, both animal and human. Each turn is going to provide an opportunity to uncover something new about the city, as players will reveal elements from little insects to specific objects and denizens of Kyoto. And while some of these elements are represented by cardboard tiles, others will come as standees, ensuring a stunning visual presence. You lost me at standees, but I am going to rein in my inner deluxified. I'm so bad. I know, okay. I know every game doesn't have to have miniatures. However, I mean, you have cats here. At least like the little jelly ones, the little silicone type ones that you have in Everdell would be fun. Or like the little fruits and stuff, that would have been nice. But other than that, I am out there to collect Japanese themed games. I really loved Let's Go to Japan. So Kyoto no Neko seems like it's right up there along the same type of, not just the theme, but just the same type of vibe. Ultimately, that's what it is. So that right there is my number 9. Now moving on to number 8. This is the most immediately relatable one. And this is called Video Game Champion after just filming in an arcade. Well, technically it was an arcade set, but all the games there were actually very functional. So you could use them and play them. But here, this is Video Game Champion by Arcane Wonders. And it says here that players are transported to the nostalgic setting of the 1990s. That is my era. Am I a millennial if I'm born in that era? And here it says that they are stepping into the shoes of children, balancing multiple activities such as earning pocket money, studying, and immersing themselves in the captivating world of 16-bit gaming. From flipping through video game magazines to renting games and asking your parents for gifts and spending hours pushing buttons, the game captures the essence of that era. I love that. I think this is one of the strongest, if it does play on the game well, this is one of the strongest themes that I've seen so far, especially with a theme that I relate with so much, being born in like the 1990s. This is like the era that I want to go back to for a bit and just explore life again once when things were just much simpler. Like, just a side little tangent here, but when I was filming the #1 board game of all time video, I specifically wanted an arcade set. And I wish I explained this a little more now that I'm looking back. I wish I explained this a little more in the actual video. But the reason why I wanted an arcade set was because that's what Andromeda made me feel like. It made me feel like, you ever get like a pocket of or a cup of those coins when you're in an arcade when you're little? You go to an arcade machine, you exchange like $1, you get 4 quarters out, and now you have like a whole cup full of coins and a jar of wonders for you to go around and play different arcade machines. That's the exact feeling I have when I play Andromeda, because like you get to choose all these different factions and everything, and that's why I chose an arcade set specifically for that. So Video Game Champion, bringing back that type of theme again is what makes me super interested. I think that's why I also really love Stranger Things 2, because it has all the feels from the 1990s nostalgia, and it just is really, it makes me really miss that era a lot. I really love how it sounds overall, the fact that you're doing all the things that you used to do before. Like, nothing gets more nostalgic than that. And then mechanically, it says here that there is an action grid where you're going to be activating different actions from columns or lines, and that there are also button chips and IOU chips, which adds depth to the decision making as players are striving to maximize their points by completing these poker style chip combinations. So I'm definitely gonna have to learn a little bit more about what that means, poker style chips. Like, is that the different type of currencies, or is that what you're spending to buy different chips for different actions? I don't know, but overall, I absolutely love the theme, and I think the components too, and having this grid-like style is really, really interesting, and that's why I put that as my number 8. Now, moving on to number 7. Okay, this one, like, I don't know. These 10 games all have absolutely stunning cover art, but check out number 7 right here, okay? This is called Phoenix New Horizon. I have no idea what this game does, but just seeing the box cover like that, absolutely stunning. So, and plus it's a color scheme that I'm not Like the only other color scheme I would relate to this one is probably Wingspan. I think Wingspan was the only one that had a color scheme like this. But how Phoenix works is it is a Euro style board game in which players are going to assume control of a team of commandos tasked with the mission of recolonizing Earth. Throughout the game's 4 rounds, players will accumulate victory points by constructing regenerators and buildings, bolstering the planet's population, and achieving diverse objectives that vary between playthroughs. They have to allocate their commandos and various actions throughout the game, so I think this is a worker placement game. And then you also have to fulfill missions assigned by the governing authorities, which yields additional actions on a player's turn. I absolutely love it, and if you look at the miniatures here too, or like the little meeples actually, and the dual-layered cardboard, oh my god, say less when you have components like that. So I think this is a worker placement game, and because it is a Euro, it does sound a little bit more towards the medium and heavyweight, which is most of the games that I enjoy anyway. I absolutely love the theme, and I think that with this banner system that I'm seeing up top, hopefully it's like an area where you're unlocking new abilities and skills where you can later on build up your engine. Any kind of game like that, I'm instantly sold for. And there also seems to be different game boards too, where you can activate different functions and maybe access different types of resources and maybe unlock them later on. So any kind of game like that, I'm instantly sold for. Phoenix, my number 7. Now, going down in complexity actually is going to number 6, and this is Tea Garden. Now, Tea Garden is also a worker placement game, but also with deck building. Now, that combination is something that I absolutely love. Although I think the only time I didn't like that combo was in, well, at least the last time I played Dune Imperium. I haven't tried any of the new Dune expansions or Rise of Ix or any of that. I think I would be willing to give it another shot because the battle system in the original one was not something that I liked a lot. It just seemed a little underwhelming, but hopefully that one plays out better. And then here it has that same type of style. Plus Tea Garden seems to be a little bit more fleshed out than what Chai was. That's the only other tea themed game that I know of. And here it says in Tea Garden, you're gonna pay with tea leaves, and they can either be green or black fermented tea leaves. But the value of the green leaves will decrease each round, and the value of the black leaves decreases immediately. This reminds me of Honey Buzz, because you do have that system where as you invest more in a certain resource, another one declines. I really love that. The whole market system is really fun. And yeah, it looks like a light, medium, chill game that I am absolutely interested in. And I absolutely, again, also love the artwork too. This one I feel like my fiance will like the most because it's so like chill, so comforting, very Animal Crossing like, or very peaceful. Let me take that back. Not Animal Crossing like, very peaceful. Now, moving on to number 5. Okay, let me tell you now, Devere is knocking it out of the park with games here. I want to get Bitoku back on the table. I've been meaning to do a review about that one. I've been meaning to get White Castle too, which I'll talk about in a second. But number 5 is Cities. Now, Cities is a city building game where you're drafting the best projects and arranging them in your own play area. This is a 2 to 4 player game which lasts around 40 minutes, which is very short and interesting at that, with action and resource drafting mechanisms. And it's going to give you the opportunity to visit a bunch of different, as implied in the name, cities like Sydney, Venice, New York, Barcelona, and so on. And your goal here is to design the most magnificent neighborhood. Now, I don't think this is a tile laying game. I think this is a, well, it says in the name too, it is a city building game, which is hopefully a lot more, like, I feel like those two are pretty related. I've been meaning to find more city building games because the last one I found wasn't that much fun for me, and that was Suburbia. I didn't really like that one. I actually gave that one up out of the collection. But I do have Foundations of Rome, which I've also been meaning to table as well. So between Foundations of Rome and Cities, this looks so good. Plus the little mini building miniatures look so fun. So Cities is my number 5 most anticipated for Essen, and one I cannot wait to check out over there while I am in Germany. Okay. Now, number 4 is Daitoshi. Like I said, like Devere games, like I didn't even realize these are all Devere games that I'm putting on my list until later on. And like, shoot, they are killing it out there. Okay, in Daitoshi, the goal here is to move your magnate to a new district, and you're going to send your workers to work, command the exploit of the forest or river hexes to fuel your endless need for steam, and perform an action to expand and show your greatness to the city. That's a bit arbitrary for me for the description, but the next part here says these actions not only help you in your search for acknowledgement, but help all the inhabitants of the big city. Your goal is to expand the city and electrify the districts discover and develop new steam-powered inventions, and city build its gargantuan project, the Mega Machine. And the reason why I ranked this as my number 4 is because it has that steampunk-esque feel to it, and I really love that. I want to see more of the components to see exactly what it has in store for it, but being a De Vere game, I know it's going to be like a Euro style game, and if it's like Bitoku or White Castle or any other games by De Vere, I'm sure I'm going to love it because I really love their Euro games. And on top of that, this one has a theme that I've been dying to find, which is steampunk. This looks pretty steampunk to me. And even if I talk about combat a lot in the games that I enjoy, I really do love my Euro games too. So that right there is number 4, Daitoshi. Moving on to number 3. Now this is Civolution. Okay, Civolution is a heavy Euro style game that utilizes dice selection to trigger actions in a tech tree-like structure. That right there is what instantly sold me about this game. I really love tech trees, and I love that we have some dice selection too. So combine them all. You got worker placement, you got action triggering mechanisms, you have tech trees, you have the Euro style game. I'm sold. I think the decision-making questions in this game is what sold me to make it really high on my list. This one says, what would you consider to be more beneficial for your tribes? Inventing the wheel or growing wings? Demonstrate your ability to operate your civilization console and show us how well you can adjust to changeable environmental conditions and mild creational chaos. I absolutely love that. I think the fact that you are building a civilization from scratch and you get to pick really big, impactful like upgrades for your city for your civilization to do all that, I'm sold. It looks really fun. Plus, it is a medium to heavy game, which are like my sweet spot for Euro games. Heavy Euro game. I have to get at least one heavy Euro game out there, and I really hope that Civolution plays out well when I see it in person. Okay, now moving on to the final 2. Oh, I'm so excited to tell you about number 1. Okay, number 2 here is what I mentioned earlier, the White Castle, but this time White Castle is coming out with an expansion called the Matcha expansion. Now, I haven't played the White Castle just yet, but again, yet another De Vere title that they are absolutely killing it with. And here, so let's talk about White Castle for a second. In White Castle, it is a worker placement game and dice placement where you're trying to, over the course of 3 rounds, send members of your clan to tend the gardens and defend the castle and up the progress track of different social ladders of the nobility. And at the end of the match, you're trying to award players victory points in a ton of different ways. And the expansion to that is going to add in Matcha, where you have to have a new place to influence the court of the clan by having members in good seats with the Shashitu, which is the tea room, and that's going to help you achieve a greater level of influence with the court of the Himeji. Now, the last time we had a tea ceremony in a game, I definitely did not like it at all. That was in Rising Sun, but here it sounds like it's completely different. You're not negotiating for anything. It is a worker placement / dice placement game, which is completely different from Rising Sun. So I hope this plays out well. Plus, like the Matcha expansion to White Castle, I can't wait to get my hands on this one. It looks extremely fun, and that is definitely on like my next to buy list. Like I've been wanting to get the White Castle, but I've been holding off so I can get all the other games that have come in to be played. I have like Foundations of Rome. I still haven't played the Aquatica expansion, Coral Reefs, just yet. And yeah, there's a whole slew of other games too. Destinies hasn't been played. I'm looking over there. I want to get a review on so many games. So that's why I haven't bought anything, but I need to get White Castle. And I know that I'm going to be doing a haul too of the games that I got in Essen. And that's just going to add to the whole no longer having 0 games unplayed in my gaming collection. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the final game that I wanted to talk to you about. My number 1 most anticipated game for Essen. Now, a quick little disclaimer here. I do know Arx and Andromeda's Edge is going to be there. Obviously, I'm very excited for them, but those are games that I have played already. I would definitely check them out if you haven't already. So definitely go out there, check out Arx if you haven't already. Check out Andromeda's Edge. I know they're doing the booth with Lucky Duck, and I'll honestly will probably be there quite often too. So feel free to say hi anytime. But overall, for this list of games that I haven't played just yet, my number 1 most anticipated game over there at Essen is Avalon, the Riven Vale, Oathsworn's successor in a competitive form. Okay, now Shadowborn games, I am a ginormous fan of. Like, I've never wanted to go out and play a campaign game solo or cooperative like a game like them. I cannot stop thinking about Oathsworn until this day. If I had it my way, I would have Oathsworn set up here and just play it all the time. I actually just got Chapter 8 played a couple days ago, and it was so close. I was so close on losing Chapter 8. Luckily, I pulled a very, very slim win on that boss. And there are 21 chapters, and I really want to finish this game. I mean, the goal is to finish Oathsworn by the end of this year. So I don't know if I'm going to reach that just yet, because I will do a comprehensive review then. But long story short, I'm a huge fan of Shadowborn games. I have been for a while, for a very, very long time actually. And I've been dying to see what they can do when it comes to a competitive game. And I did get a demo from Jamie himself for Avalon, and let me tell you now, yo, this game is so good. You need to follow this campaign. Okay, I'm gonna link it down below. Check out the campaign, follow. That way you can get the day one gift, which is the dragon and everything. Just take a look at the campaign. This is, if you follow my channel at all, I know you're gonna love this game because I already do, and I just got a demo of it. I want to get another full in-person demo over there, but this game looks freaking crazy. So this is an Arthurian themed game. It is an area control game, and it has really big, I don't know if fantasy is the right term for this, but maybe like tales of legend, like Excalibur, the Grail, mythical beasts, asymmetric factions. All the best things that I want in a game is in here. Like, you heard it already. You hear me mention these terms all the time on my channel. And this is everything that I always hark on. Like, I mentioned this before, but they always have the coolest names for things, like the Riven Veil. I had to look up what Riven means. It's just freaking wild. It blows my mind how they make everything sound so cool. Let me give you a little more substance to this, besides just being a fan over the overall theme. But this is an area control and exploration game where you are leading mighty factions through the Misty Veil to discover what awaits on the mystical Isle of Avalon. Explore the mists, discover legendary items of power, bond mythic beasts, hunt for the Grail, and prepare for war. If epic is probably the best term to describe this game. Like, count me in for a day one backer for this. I cannot wait for this campaign to launch. Like, again, Shadowborn games, I really love their combat system for Oathsworn. I think it's one of the best combat systems ever. And the fact that they're now moving into the competitive market and introducing and launching a game like Avalon, I'm absolutely sold. So the demo that I've got so far, I did get to see some other stuff with it that I don't think I can mention just yet. But what I can mention is that the air control looks absolutely phenomenal. And again, I am never disappointed with what they've come out so far. And honestly, I am not surprised at how unique that they have made this game feel. They just really pour their heart and soul into the games. So the fact that Avalon is delivering with the same level, if not higher, level of expectations as Oathsworn, oh my God, I can't deal. It's so good. So I'm very excited for that game. I can't wait to see it in person. Plus, those minis right there, like, there's a little soul siphoning action happening over there with like the Death Knight or whichever leader for that clan is. It's absolutely phenomenal. I can't deal with how good this is going to be. So with that said, those are my top 10 games that I am most excited for Essen. If I missed anything, please let me know down in the comments below what I missed, because I will definitely be checking out as many games as possible, and it might end up on the vlog too from some of the games that you do want to see. So if are there any games that you want me to cover, any games that you want me to go see over there, go ahead and let me know down below so I can make sure I put that on my radar. If you made it to the very end, go ahead and comment Essen down below, because that's where I'm going to be. I can't wait to see so many of you. Feel free to say hi at any time. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.